You can actually see those windows blown out behind me, and I actually want our viewers to take a look. You can see that police are here on scene actually investigating after it appears they found dozens of marijuana plants in a first floor apartment here in Belmont, and I can tell you those plants are huge. The light at the end of the tunnel is still pretty far away. We are about to enter the most active part of hurricane season, and they may get hit again. We're now learning the identity of a 28-year-old man that was shot and killed just steps away from his home. Soto says even though he did not win the race today, he still plans to uplift the Bronx community. Jaleesa Richardson walking out of the 47th precinct with her head held down and not answering any questions. The Subway Series is in full swing, and Mets and Yankee fans are here and they are showing up and showing out. The goal of the NFL's Play 60 initiative is to encourage kids to be active for at least 60 minutes a day. Today's main message was to let survivors know that they are not alone. Hours earlier, suspects tried to break into another jewelry store just 1 block away. You would like to paint the roses red just like the Queen of Hearts. Wonderland Curious Nature will be open from May 18th through October 27th. Yeah, we're here in front of the Jackson Avenue train station where we know a man was stabbed multiple times or found the body just around 3 p.m. today. You can see there's people from a anti-violence awareness group right here behind me, and what we know is that man is 41 years old. He was stabbed multiple times in his arm, and he was taken to Lincoln Hospital, and he's expected to be okay. The MTA says there have been no delays to service, and like I said, this happened just as members of Save Our Streets and the Bronx Community Justice Center were here on scene for a community outreach event. And they tell us that this is heartbreaking and that no one deserves to be a victim of violence. Here's what they had to say earlier today.
It's heartbreaking. Nobody should be able to, not be safe on the train, let alone get stabbed. We right here occupying the block just to let everybody know there's resources out here,
Police say no arrests have been made and the investigation is still ongoing. That's the latest here in Melrose. Natalie Hernandez, News 12, The Bronx. We saw FDNY officials examining those bikes here on scene. I want you to take a look at video that we shot earlier today. The FDNY says that they responded to a call of a fire on 173rd Street and Morris Avenue. And we saw hazmat crews and fire officials tell us that's because e-bikes were present here on scene. A source connected to the investigation tells me that multiple bikes were on fire in an apartment on the first floor. We spoke to a resident who told us chaos broke out once the fire started burning and officials acted quickly.
Llamaron a la policía porque se prendió una moto y la moto se prendió y de ahí comenzaron a tocar y bajamos toditos con un miedo y una cosa. Y cuando entraron ahí, pues yo no sé todo lo que encontraron, muchas cosas malas.
Residents actually told me that they saw multiple bikes being taken out of this building, and one person even compared it to an e-bike shop. Terrifying moments caught on camera. A stranger kicking down the door and crawling through a hole he created in Parkchester resident Kristen's apartment. The video shows the man who police identify as Brian Watts standing at Kristen's door, mumbling and knocking multiple times.
I'm not taking it serious at first because I'm like, okay, he's not gonna get in, the door is locked, everything is fine. And then he gives it one kick and the door kind of explodes.
Watts crawled through the hole and into the apartment. Kristen says she knew she had to run to safety. She called the police and locked herself inside the bathroom.
I can hear him walking around. I can hear him touching stuff, picking things up. I can just hear him moving around my apartment. And I'm hysterical.
During the tense moments Watts was in Kristen's apartment, she says he did manage to get the bathroom door open, but eventually left her alone, closing the door. And she says he was found by police resting on her couch.
I really thought in that bathroom, this is my last day on earth. I'm not gonna survive this.
Watts was arrested at the apartment. The 44-year-old is charged with burglary, criminal mischief, and possession of a controlled substance. Kristen says this was her worst fear, living alone, and she just wants her sense of safety back.
But when I come home, my door should shut all of that out. I should have my peace, and I should feel secure that when I walk out of here and I leave all of this by itself, it's still gonna be here when I come back.
Kristen tells me that even though her door has been replaced and upgraded by management, she still doesn't feel safe living in her home. She plans to move out as soon as she can. Reporting from Parkchester, Natalie Hernandez, News 12 The Bronx.
It's good to meet you.
A path to enlightenment shaped Captain Tawi Tiantong's career in the NYPD.
This was actually the temple that I stayed at when I went to the monastery.
Tiantong is a first-generation American whose family immigrated from Thailand. He says tradition and a desire to learn more about Buddhism inspired him to become a monk.
And become a monk means you have to live the monk life. You have to really embrace the life. And that means you have to give up all your possessions, anything that ties you to the regular or materialistic world.
Tiantong did just that, becoming an ordained monk in his 20s. He spent over 9 months in the monastery, this journey paralleling his decades-long career in the NYPD.
When you're a monk, you have to believe those things that you're teaching. Same thing as a cop. You have to believe these things. You have to believe that you're making a difference. If you don't believe it and you're just going through the actions, people will see it and they know.
Captain Tiantong has been the commanding officer of the 49th Precinct for 2 months, and he says he hopes to lead it with empathy and kindness.
If you can put yourself in somebody else's shoes and see people for the struggles that they go through and just take the time to listen, you can learn a lot. We look at all of our victims and we say, what if that was your family member, right? And they're calling for help. What's the response that you would like for them to take for your family? That's how we should respond to every complainant.
From the 49th Precinct, Natalie Hernandez, News 12 The Bronx.
Puerto Rico es mi patria.
Linda Espinel lives in Puerto Rico 6 months out of the year. Her neighbors have no power after Hurricane Ernesto tore down cable wires near her home in El Campo. She has no Wi-Fi and can only speak to us on the phone.
It just got really bad, and the rain was just nonstop, and the wind, and I can tell things are flying, limbs are flying, and and I just stayed indoors, and it was just very dark and depressing.
Heavy winds, pouring rain, a reminder of Hurricane Maria, which took the lives of thousands back in 2017 and left Puerto Ricans in the dark for months. For Espinel, it's like Puerto Rico can't catch a break.
To see the community struggle through this time and time again, and it's just horrible.
Now what's left are broken tree branches, down cables, and no power. When the hurricane first hit, almost half of the island was left in the dark. Luma Energy, the island's main power provider, said today they plan to restore power to 90% of the island by August 18th. Jason Cruz, president of Vision Integrity Purpose, Inc., an advocacy group that provides aid during natural disasters, says this is an ongoing issue.
They cannot handle the capabilities of empowering an entire country. These are lives that are being lost because of these issues. So it's deeper than just a power issue or even a grocery issue.
For Nuyorican like Espinel and Cruz, the light at the end of the tunnel is still pretty far away. We are about to enter the most active part of hurricane season, and they may get hit again. Reporting from Longwood, Natalie Hernandez, News 12 The Bronx. Earlier this year, TikTok creator Honey Huncho had an odd visitor at her door. Out of fear, she called the police and turned him away. Months later, she rethought that choice after seeing this sketch of a teen found dead near Starlight Park.
There's no way possible that it could be this boy that was at my door 6 months ago.
Back on March 1st, our cameras were there when police say a body was pulled from the water of Starlight Park. They never identified him. The National Missing and Unidentified Persons System released photos of the clothes the man was wearing: a red sweater, black track pants, and a distinct Paramount shirt. An outfit Honey would never
forget.
I knew at that point that I might have been the last person to see him alive.
She says she posted a now viral video on social media calling out for help, and it led her to a name. Humberto Luna. She immediately turned any information she had over to police and says she just wanted to be a good citizen.
That's somebody's baby, that's somebody's son, brother, friend, and his name needs to be said.
Honey says she connected with Luna's mother about the possibility of him being the John Doe. She hopes that after months of unanswered questions, there is finally peace.
This is every mother's fear. I'm only a person that sought the help from my peers. That's it. She deserves all the answers, and that's it.
Law enforcement sources tell us that they are looking to see if the man in the video is Humberto Luna. They are also looking to see if he is the man that was found dead here on March 1st. Reporting from Starlight Park, Natalie Hernandez, News 12 The Bronx. We're now learning the identity of a 28-year-old man that was shot and killed just steps away from his home.